Hello again, everybody. It's me, Marcus, and I review stuff. Today I'm reviewing the song The Bay by Stereo Honey. This does come as a request, so as always, if you would like to request something, please leave a comment down below, and I'll be sure to get to it eventually. Now, before we get into it, I've actually never really heard anything from Stereo Honey. I can't even say I think I'd ever heard the name of the band before today, so really going into this one blind. Going to be a totally authentic 100% reaction here. So really interested to see what they bring. I don't even know what genre they are. So this is going in totally blind, but looking forward to it. Again, big reason for starting the channel is to really open up, broaden their horizons, and get to listen to some things that I've never heard before. So this is perfect. This is exactly what we're here for. So anyway, as I said, this is Stereo Honey, The Bay. Let's listen. I feel like I'm at the movies.
Just a drop in the ocean, a tiny grain of
really liked the sound of that song. The drum beat and that bass line there at the beginning really hooked me. I really liked that about it. To me, it kind of stood out throughout the song. Once I was kind of dialed into it, I was like, wow, it kept it up throughout the song. I just really enjoyed it. And it's almost like the guitar was secondary, which was cool by me. I mean, I love guitar, but really enjoyed that just catchy drum and bass line. Really, really cool there. So I read a little bit about this song just now as I was listening to it. And I'm glad I did, because it's going to give me a whole lot more insight into the lyrics before I analyze them. So that I'm going to read it to you guys. The Bay is a song about the 2004 Morecambe Bay cockling disaster, in which 23 illegal Chinese migrant workers who were tasked with picking cockles from the shore were drowned after the tide swept in and surrounded them within minutes. 21 of the 23 bodies were found, but it's the other two that Resnick has written about in this song. He imagined that they were a couple holding on to one another in their final minutes. That's tragic. Resnick had been raised in the north of England and would sometimes stay with his grandparents in their caravan at Grange over Sands near Morecambe Bay, where the tragedy had occurred. In an interview with Wonderland magazine, he recalled what it was like. I used to play there. This is a quote. I used to play there when I was a kid on the beach, and the tide's really dangerous. Like, it comes in like a pincer. It's proper deep, man. I remember when it happened, and it cut me, because I used to play there, so I had like a physical connection and a memory of that. This is interesting. I think it's interesting how there are some bands out there that really just write about moments and tragic events that happen around them. So there's this song I just listened to recently, as you guys have, I'm sure, seen, "Suffer Little Children" by the Smiths, which was about a series of murders there in England. And then I've also listened to "Mein Teil" by Rammstein, about another cannibalistic murder there. So to me, I guess it's interesting where these huge events that I'm sure receive a lot of press really resonate with artists who are from those areas, and so that gives them inspiration to sort of write a song about it. And I know that those three I just mentioned aren't the only songs I've heard that have to do with something like this. These are just the three freshest in my memory currently. So, but I do think it's interesting where artists get their influence or their inspiration from to write these songs. And I think it's it's almost wonderful that the writer of the song thought about those two, whose bodies were never recovered, and thought about what their last moments could have been like. It's very it's almost a sweet moment in a major tragedy, if you will. And so with that kind of bit of information there, I'd love to now dive into the lyrics. So verse 1, I'm just a drop in the ocean, a tiny grain of sand. I'm trying to run for the shoreline, but we're miles away from land. Just lay me down beside you, there's nowhere left to go. Down beneath the waves, love will move so soft and slow. Soft and slow. So yeah, absolutely, like, the ocean ain't nothing to fuck with, y'all. Like, the ocean's gigantic. It's literally like the biggest thing on the earth. So it's insane. And so the fact that they could that they were washed away, I mean, that's it. Like, if there's no one who can rescue you, that's it. The ocean's just so big, not much you can do. And that's kind of what he's saying here: a tiny grain of sand, just a drop in the ocean. This ocean's so huge that we're like that to it. Which, I mean, it's slightly off topic, but I think about that, like, just how vast the ocean is, and then I think about, like, that's nothing compared to just like outer space. So it blows my mind how much just non-human inhabitable land places there are in the universe. It's insane. Anyway. But we're miles away from the land. So yeah, basically they're floating out to sea or what have you. They're gonna drown. They're doomed, and so they're saying, like, just hold me here, soft and slow, one last time, before we go. So hold on to each other tight, waiting for dawn's early light. Did this happen at night? Damn, that sucks. stranded, petrified, waiting for the end, down by the beach side where death greets you like a long-lost friend. Here comes the tide, wait for a lifeline. Place your fingers in mine, wait for a lifetime again. So, yeah, and I think that really captures just the tragedy of it. I'm sure, honestly, it probably only took them seconds, minutes, maybe a couple hours at the most before they went under and drowned. But like what he says here, wait for a lifetime. I'm sure when you're in that sort of tragic and almost hopeless moment, it feels like forever. So then, help me find a way back to the start again. Never stray too far from you. There is no help left to send. And if I go, does the world keep spinning without me? If it does, then I don't want to know. And as time slows, just give me to the ocean. Still, my heart says so. And again, I think it's quite lovely that he imagined these two lost people as lovers, and they're having this conversation where, yes, we're doomed, but at least we'll be doomed together. And it's just, he has a great way of romanticizing this terrible tragedy. I'm not saying that terrible tragedy should be romanticized, but I think the way he writes it here, it really pays homage to those people, and it's a very lyrically sound way to do it, and just it's fantastic to read and to listen to. Still my heart says so, still my heart says so. Here comes the tide, wait for a lifeline. Place your fingers in mine, wait for a lifetime. Here comes the tide, wait for a lifetime again. So yeah, super tragic lyrical content here, but again, the way that they write it is just so beautiful, and it really kind of gets that message across, and it almost makes me empathize with those people even more, to think that to kind of have this story, whether it's probably not true, this is more so just the artist's rendition of it, but to think that these two people only had each other in their final moments, it really increases the empathy drive there a little bit for me. So I think when a song can make you sort of feel something like that, can make you think about it and talk about it, and even bring awareness to this sort of, I had never heard of this incident before, so that's the cool thing about doing this channel too. I had never heard about the what was his name, Awen Muse or whatever, that whole thing with Rammstein. I had never heard of the murders that were referenced in Stuff for Little Children. I had never heard of this incident either. So not only we get to talk about lyrics here and music, but we're also getting to learn a few things about what have happened in the world. So that's pretty neat. Silver lining, I guess. But yeah, lyrically, I got to give this one 2 thumbs up. I think there's something about it that has really resonated with me, and like I said, a beautiful way to talk about a terrible, terrible tragedy. And that's there's something to be said about that. There's something to be appreciated about that. So yeah, I like that one a lot lyrically. Again, instrumentally, the drums, that drum beat that they came in with, that was a lot of fun. Then the bass line that they kind of carried throughout the song, also a lot of fun. I like the guitar throughout. It sort of had this poppy sound, this sort of like, I don't want to say like it was like bubblegum pop or nothing like that. Don't get me wrong here, but it was definitely more like an indie pop or indie rock sound to it, which I really actually enjoyed. I thought it fit really well with the song. The guy's voice sounds great. He does remind me of a lot of maybe other indie pop singers, which is fine. I mean, I wouldn't say that he really stuck out in a sense to me yet. I mean, I'd be interested to see what else this band has, but he did sound great. The instrumentation sounded great, and I think it really played nice with the lyrics. I really got that sense of beautiful tragedy, both through the lyrics and the singing and the instrumentation. So I think it all really worked well together there. I got to give it 2 thumbs up there as well. And then as far as replay value goes, look, this one's real catchy. I mean, in its own way. Again, it is about a tragedy, but the way that they just talk about this tragedy in such a beautiful light, and this beautiful telling of this story that may or may not be true, but the fact that they were able to imagine that and maybe give some sort of pay some sort of homage to these fallen victims. I think it's a beautiful thing, and it definitely has its place in my playlist. I like songs that sound great. I like songs that are catchy and poppy and fun to listen to, but I also like songs that have a much wider message, or are there to reassure you, or just, well composed or whatever, right? So I think this song has its place in the playlist. I think I'm gonna listen to it quite a bit. So I can't wait to listen to it again. I enjoyed it, and I want to, instead of thinking about the lyrics this time, I really want to pay more attention to the instrumentation here the second listen as I get into it. So I'll give it like a 1.5 for replay value. I don't know if there was enough there for me to really grasp onto, other than maybe that drum beat and that bass line. But it's still an enjoyable song, and I still want to listen to it again for sure. So it's got some replay value. It's got some legs. So anyway, that's it for the video. Really enjoyed this suggestion. Keep the suggestions coming. If you like the music as much as I did, please go support the artists wherever you can. I haven't checked yet, but if they are on Spotify, I will definitely put them in my Spotify playlist. It's in the description below. It's got every single song I've listened to so far on the channel. It makes for a pretty weird listen, honestly. We've got all kinds of music on this playlist by now. If you want to support me, just consider doing all the normal stuff you do on YouTube. Like and subscribe and comment, whatever. But hey, that's it from me, guys. Hope to see you in the next one. Hope you guys are staying safe and healthy. And until then, until I see you next time, bye.